Take a break from your busy schedule and join Harold Sala for Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living.
There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to Him. So wrote Solomon 3,000 years ago. Numbers 3 and 4 on that list of character disorders which the Bible calls sins are hands that shed innocent blood and a heart that devises wicked schemes. Now, I have no way of knowing whether Solomon thought of the circumstances of his own family, especially involving his own father and mother when he wrote that, but he well could have. His father was David, his mother Bathsheba. In the spring of the time when kings go to war, begins 2 Samuel 11:1, David stayed at home. One evening when he was on the rooftop of his palace, he saw a beautiful woman bathing, the woman who eventually became Solomon's mother. Do you remember the story how David took Bathsheba and slept with her? After all, he was the king, and he was not accustomed to having anyone deny him. But then when Bathsheba became pregnant as the result of this adulterous affair, David's conscience began to deeply trouble him. Bathsheba was married to another man, and a good man at that. For David to take Bathsheba as his wife, Uriah had to be destroyed, and it had to appear to be a grave accident. Without taking the time to recount all the details, which I would encourage you to read for yourself, if ever a man devised a wicked scheme and shed innocent blood, it was David who was responsible, completely and fully, for the death of Uriah, the rightful husband of Bathsheba. Now, just a minute, you may be thinking, isn't this the one who took a slingshot and in the name of the Lord went against Goliath? Is not this the one who wrote, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me"? And of course the answer to all of these is yes. Should you take the time to ponder the 6 things which God hates and look at the life of David, you will find an example of almost everyone in David's life. He was proud and arrogant. He lied. His hand shed innocent blood. His heart devised the wicked scheme to put Uriah in the forefront of the battle, then order the troops to pull out, leaving him exposed to the fire of the enemy. His feet rushed to do evil, and he deliberately hurt the woman who became the object of his lust. Though Solomon did not mention his father's adulterous affair with his mother, he undoubtedly thought of the consequences which followed the wrongdoing: the death of his half-brother, who was the love child of David and Bathsheba, the public humiliation which came as the result of his sin, and the ongoing conflicts which resulted in his personal, immediate family because of what David did. But, and this is the point I want you to get, there is forgiveness and healing for wrongdoing, no matter what it may be. As the psalmist, perhaps David himself, wrote, "If you, O Lord, kept a record of sins, O Lord, who could stand? But with you there is forgiveness, therefore you are feared." David paid a price for his wrongdoing, a substantial one. Yet in repentance he poured out his heart before God and asked for God to restore the joy of his salvation. Friend, if you see yourself trapped in these 6 things which God hates, do what David did: confess your wrongdoing, forsake it, and find God's strength. That is what grace is all about, and that is what God will do for you too, friend, just as he did for David.
You've just heard Dr. Harold Sala with Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living. If you would like to listen to the program again, download a copy, subscribe to our e-commentary, or view other resources, visit guidelines.org. We would like to hear from you too. You can email us at info@guidelines.org. That's info@guidelines.org. Thanks for listening, and we invite you to join us again for the next edition of Guidelines.